Hi everyone, it's Caitlin from Really Big Plant. Thank you so much for joining me. So for this video, we are doing a little bit of a turtle rescue. I have my Peperomia prostrata here that I packed up in this terrarium when I moved here like 8 months ago now, and I have not taken it out of here. And I thought that it was doing fine. You know, I opened up this little lid to water it, and I thought that it was doing okay in here, especially because I have another little Peperomia prostrata that as soon as I moved here, just fried up. It shriveled up pretty instantly. And I figured that was because moving from San Francisco to Southern California, there was a pretty big difference in humidity. It's much drier here where I moved to. And I noticed on many of my plants right away that they responded to the lower humidity. And so I figured the Peperomia prostrata was much happier in the terrarium than outside of it. And so I just left it in here. And then I didn't notice until pretty recently that it actually isn't doing as well as I thought. It's actually doing a lot worse than I thought, which there are a lot of reasons for. Like, multiple things came together to inspire this repotting and the plan that I'm going to do with it. It's not, okay, I'm hyping it up. It's not like anything groundbreaking, but there were like a lot of things that came together to make this plan. So everything in this video is turtle themed. Recently discovered that these needed a lot of help, my current string of turtles, and wasn't sure what to do. And then I got reached out to by the sponsor of this video about working with them on a Save the Tortoise campaign. And I was like, you know what? That's a really good idea. Save the turtles and do a string of turtle repotting. So let me tell you a little bit about this sponsor. You probably noticed that I look different. I'm wearing different glasses. These are from the sponsor of this video, glassesusa.com. They are one of the largest retailers of glasses in the United States. They sell designer brands like Ray-Ban, Oakley for up to 70% off most styles. Plus, these glasses that I'm wearing are from their unique Save the Tortoise collection. GlassesUSA.com teamed up with the American Tortoise Rescue Foundation to create this totally unique line of glasses that all have frames that are inspired by turtles or tortoises that are endangered. And up to 10% of the proceeds go straight back to the American Tortoise Rescue. So I think that that's really awesome that when you buy these glasses, you're giving a little bit back to turtle conservation too. These particular glasses that I'm wearing are called the Box, and they are based on box turtles. They have these lighter color markings. I think that they're really cute. I like that they're oversized. They are made of 100% plant-based acetate. Their packaging is also totally eco-friendly. Okay, I'm stepping outside to wash off some leca. These are called the Geometric. They're also from GlassesUSA.com. They're based off of the geometric tortoise, which is actually highly endangered worldwide. But yeah, look at the legs. I feel like they're super cute. Sometimes ordering glasses online can be tricky, but GlassesUSA.com has a virtual AR try-on tool that's really easy to use, where you just upload a little picture of yourself and you can see how the different frames are gonna fit. And I like that it's all risk-free because it's free shipping and you get free returns within 14 days. And I also have a link in the video description for an exclusive discount on GlassesUSA.com frames that you can apply in addition to any other coupon codes. It does expire in 24 hours and the link is in my video description. Thank you so much, GlassesUSA, for sponsoring this video.
Really big plant.
So, first up, we need to get the turtles out of their little box. I think they like the humidity, but they don't like that there's this depth here, which prevented my pile of turtles in the bottom of this box from getting light. When I pulled back this layer of turtles on the bottom, I didn't realize that there's a whole layer of dead turtles underneath. Moment of truth. Oh man, it's not looking good in here. Yeah, okay. So, I guess the first step is to just sit here and separate the live turtles from the dead ones. So I'm not worried about this. I mean, it looks bad and it like feels bad that I killed off this plant so severely, but string of turtles has got to be one of the easiest houseplants out there to propagate. I've found that it propagates easily even when it's already almost dead. So, and like really shriveled up. my like basic plants separated. It's pretty sparse. I mean, this used to be very, very full. It was sitting next to my couch and it kind of cascaded all over this set of plant stands that I had. And honestly, in my opinion, it was always very messy looking, although you guys, I think, liked it. But it always felt very unmanageable to me because string of turtles do this thing where when you move them around, when you adjust them, they tend to kind of fall apart a little bit. They start to break apart. I was trying to figure out what kind of overall look I wanted this plant to have after I repotted it and was thinking about it and was thinking about Peperomia prostrata. And then I realized that actually the answer is in the plant's botanical Latin name, Peperomia prostrata. Prostrata is directly related to the word prostrate, to prostrate, which is like when you throw yourself at someone's feet with your face on the ground, like to lay on the ground. So Peperomia prostrata is a peperomia that likes to lay on the ground. It likes to be face down on the floor. So I was thinking about how this plant gets kind of messy when it hangs, and after it grows about a foot, maybe, it tends to start breaking off under its own weight. And people have asked in the past, and I see discussions about this, how to get your string of turtles to grow into long, long string of turtles, and it's very, very difficult. So I had them growing really long in my last apartment because I had them sitting somewhere where the strands weren't actually completely hanging. They would like rest on a tier and then go down and rest on the next tier, and they were able to get very long that way because they were able to prostrate themselves across their environment. Versus when they hang straight down, they don't have anything helping support their weight. They tend to, in that fragile Peperomia way, break off near the top of the pot, especially if the pot has a sharp rim. Peperomia prostrata, string of turtles, gets grouped in with other vining plants or hanging plants because it does do this little trailing thing. But if you have this plant hanging up, you shouldn't really expect it to be able to grow extremely long in the same way that some of those other viners do, because it's actually not how this plant likes to grow. So when I was thinking about how Peperomia prostrata likes to be prostrate, it's a peperomia that likes to spread out across the ground, I realized that I shouldn't look for a hanging planter, but more of a dish to try to rehabilitate this plant, at least for now. So this is the pot that I want to use. I actually ordered 2 really similar bowls. I knew that I wanted to do a turtle repotting and was looking for turtle-shaped planters to put these in and couldn't really find a good one that I liked. But then I remembered that I had saved these fruit bowls. They look like little turtles to me. They only have 3 legs, but I feel like they're really cute. I ordered 2 of them because there's 2 different colors, but it turns out the styles are kind of different too. I'll put them both in my Amazon store if you like them. I personally like this one more, but it's a little shallower than this one. So I think I'm gonna go with this one. We're gonna use this pot and we're gonna make a cute little turtle mound in here. And I'm gonna put these leca balls at the bottom. I have this bag of expanded coco coir that I made last night. So I have yet to find a potting soil that I really like out here to replace the houseplant mix that I used to use in San Francisco. I guess I just took it for granted how blessed I was that I had this very cheap soil mix for houseplants that worked so well for me. Haven't been able to find anything like it here yet, so I need to keep an eye out. But for now, I've got this expanded block of coco coir. It's like a brick of coconut husk and stuff from the outside of like palm trees, coconut palm trees. And it gets super dehydrated and processed into a brick, and then you rehydrate it and you can store it and use it like potting medium. I mean, it's in a lot of potting soils already, coco coir, so. No, wait, stop. I just realized that I need to take the turtles out of their pot and see what's going on with them and how big of a soil ball we have. The way that you repot a plant like this that's really fragile is take a deep breath, and then you flip it upside down into your hand. And if it's a big one, it helps if you can have multiple people, like if someone can help you and catch the top of the plant. You kind of just gently wiggle the pot until it pops out. Oh gosh, how dehydrated and sad this soil ball was. Watered this the day before yesterday, but it is so dry Guess I wasn't giving it enough water. Maybe that's also why it fried up. Amend this with any other substrate, as in I didn't add any perlite or anything to create aeration or anything like that, because I want this soil to actually kind of compact or I don't want it to compact, but I want it to stay in a little mound. That's why I put a huge mound of leca in the bottom of the bowl. If the roots do end up making their way all the way to the bottom, there will be aeration down there. But up at the top, I actually know that it's probably gonna dry out pretty quick because this is such a big, wide surface area that I'm not really interested in adding aeration like perlite into this top layer, because I'm actually hoping that it will retain moisture for this little pile of turtles here. So in nature, string of turtles is an epiphyte, which means that it grows on other plants. It grows as like a little bit of ground cover. It also grows sort of lithophytically, which means that it grows on rocks. So you'll see it growing kind of rambling wherever it can attach to a surface or find little cracks that it can grow in. String of turtles, so easy. You literally just take pieces of this plant and you lay it on the soil. And I have all these little like leaves that are sitting around on the table from where this busted apart, and I was just like being kind of careless as I was untangling the string of turtles, and that's because all of these little single turtles here have the potential to become entire plants. These are basically propagations if you just lay them on the top of the soil. So that's what I'm doing with them. I'm gonna pick out all of the little green bits that are left in here too, and also add those to the pile. The string of turtles do want a little bit of the stem from the leaf in order to be able to propagate. So some of them, if they break off too close to the leaf without a tiny nub of stem there, sometimes those turtles don't make it, but in my experience, the success rate of string of turtles propagation is very high. This one looks like it doesn't have as much of a nub as this one does, although they're both tiny nubs. String of turtles prefer bright indirect light. By the way, I've been saying turtles this whole time, but the turtles themselves are individual leaves. So in case anyone was wondering that. It's called string of turtles because these things look like turtles. So if you have a string of turtles and you ever notice that a little bit breaks off, even if it looks like shriveled up and dead, just put it back. You can literally drop it onto the top of the pot, and chances are it will find a way to grow and survive. Peperomias are plants that benefit from high humidity and a little bit of misting occasionally if you live in a very dry climate, because that moisture on the leaves does help them retain the water, and they can handle being in a moistened environment with like a little droplets of moisture and stuff like that, versus some of the other string of plants like string of pearls really doesn't like to be misted, because when water sits in the crevices on that plant, it tends to promote mold growth and stuff like that. So that's an important difference between Peperomia prostrata and other types of string of plants. The string of turtles really loves high humidity, and you can mist it, and usually that's beneficial for these plants. I just realized that I'm doing this in the wrong order. Here's what you should do. This is my advice that I just came up with. If you're doing something like this and repotting a semi-sparse string of turtles with tons of other random little bits that don't look great or are like very naked little strings, what I'm doing is I'm pulling up my layer that looks really nice, and I'm gonna lay them on the soil underneath. And this helps both these little sad pieces be in contact with the moist soil, which gives them a better chance of getting going, growing, and it also hides them from view a little bit, so it's a little bit nicer looking of a finished product once I'm done. Situations like this, like in the past, I used to be the kind of person who would like really beat myself up for having made this mistake where it's totally my fault that I killed off this plant, and like I just like would feel really bad about having been the person that got myself to this place. And I've realized that that attitude doesn't serve me at all, and this has been something that I've been working on for the past like decade, where I'm trying to just not beat myself up so much when I mess up and just say, okay, here I am, I'm gonna try to do my best right now. So as I'm looking at this graveyard of turtles, I feel kind of, you know, not the best, because this was an avoidable situation, but at the same time, you know, no one got hurt, everything's fine. Even my turtles are still alive, and I don't like thinking about every situation as like life or death. Like if no one died, then it's okay. But there's some situations where you can learn from it and you don't need to feel super bad about it, you know? You just take it as a learning moment and then try to find your peace. So that's what I'm doing as I'm picking out these little bits of turtles that I feel like I could have saved. Reminding myself that this isn't one of those things to be upset about. Oh my gosh, I feel like this is so cute now, isn't it? Look at this huge bowl of turtles. Okay, I love this. I officially love this. And I think once it grows in, it can have like a little curtain of turtles that spill over the edge all around and like don't get too long. It's like a little turtle. It's like this little bowl of turtles. I'm obsessed with this. I love it. This turned out better than I thought it was going to. I kind of thought that it was gonna look worse initially, but there were more live turtles in that terrarium than I had thought. So my hope for this is for it to fill out really completely. Just sprinkle a little bit more of this coco coir just to retain moisture a little bit better. A lot of these vines aren't really touching the soil, so this will just give them a little bit of extra help. And then the hope is that that little layer of sprinkle soil that I put on the top just now will kind of settle in between in the loose spots. So I have a little thing of water. When I water plants that don't have a drainage hole, I like to use like a cup or a small container or something like that, just so that, I think it's kind of psychological. It's for me so that I know later if I'm doubting myself having put too much water in there, I remember that I only put like however much water can fit in this little cup, versus if I just water from the watering can and I have no idea how much water I just poured in. Hooray! I feel like after you propagate a plant and then you water it, it's like, it's the moment that you get to pat yourself on the back that you did it. So string of turtles, in my opinion, are pretty easy to care for because they're very succulent plants, as in they retain a lot of water, and the leaves are these like puffy little pillows, and when the plant is dehydrated, the leaves flatten out. Like they can get very flat, and then it's possible to revive this plant to its puffy state. So if you notice that your Peperomia prostrata looks a little bit deflated, it just needs some more water or higher humidity. But usually just watering it more frequently or giving it more water at a time when you do water it can help with that. And you can just visually tell the thirst level of your Peperomia prostrata based on how fluffy the little individual turtles are. So next steps from here, over the next few weeks, I do expect to see this turn kind of yellow, or like parts of it to turn yellow. Probably not all of the leaves that I just sprinkled in here, like sprinkles on the top, are going to turn into propagations. If it seems like the leaves are drying up really fast, I'll put the little plastic wrap over the top. I'd love to hear from you on your Peperomia prostrata situation, if you have one or if you don't like them, or if you grow it in a hanging basket and you're able to grow it really long somehow. Let me know. I'm always curious. Like, tell me your Instagram handles so I can creep on your plants. I hope that your string of turtles aren't in dire need of rescuing, but if they are, I hope that this motivates you and encourages you to just take the plunge and pull them apart and plop them on top of the soil because they should be able to grow. I'm really glad that we got around to doing this today, and I'm really glad that GlassesUSA.com sponsored this video and encouraged me to repot my turtles. I mean, they didn't tell me to repot my turtles, okay? They invited me to collaborate on their Save the Tortoise campaign, and I decided to run with it, but I'm really glad that I did. So yeah, also don't forget that the coupon code in my description box does expire in 24 hours. So if you're looking for that extra discount, you can go ahead and click. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that your plants are bringing you joy. And I hope to catch you in the next one. Bye.